Hi, Jan here from Music and Stuff, and we're here now in the legendary EastWest Studios in Hollywood. And yeah, we're getting a little tour through the different studios. Yeah, and I'm very sure it will be more than interesting. So yeah, let's start.
Cool, yeah, well, we're here in Studio One. This is one of the larger studios in LA that's not a dedicated scoring stage. We have done an 80-piece orchestra in here, although that's a little tight. It's more than I would recommend. Generally, it's 40 to 50 is pretty much as big as I would recommend going. This particular room was built for Frank Sinatra by Bill Putnam when Frank and Capitol Records had their parting. He decided, you know what, I'll start my own label. So he started the Reprise label, which we found or housed in this building, and everything he did on that label was recorded right in here, like New York, New York, My Way, Something Stupid, the Joe Beam album, a lot of his catalog. Elvis also did his '68 comeback special in here, the theme from The Godfather, a lot of the Hanna-Barbera themes, the most recent Foo Fighters album, Concrete and Gold, Michael Buble's, a couple of his albums. So much history that I just can't keep in my brain because there's too many. This is 50 years of history, and I can't remember all of it. And
how does it feel to record in a room like this? Is there always this vibe, and like Frank was here, Elvis was here?
There's a certain magic. A lot of the artists today, they're built upon the shoulders of those that came before them, and it's both magical and intimidating in a very special way. Because this is where these things that I've listened to my whole life were recorded. I need to make sure that I can live up to this. Also, it's not like overwhelming. It's just you come in and you the minute you get comfortable, it's just like any other day. It's just fun, and this is what I do, and it's all about getting everybody comfortable. But oh yeah, there's lots of history here, so. It's a fun thing, and it was nice when with the sample libraries doing them in here as well, because like this room was when it opened in I think 1960. I'm not 100% sure when it officially opened, but it was responsible for a lot of like the golden age of Hollywood film recording as well, because it was smaller studios. It wasn't the massive scoring stages to begin with. It was something more like this, and doing those scoring dates in here would have been, it's the soundtrack to a lot of the movies from the 60s as well.
Yeah, and what would you say acoustically is great about this room?
It is neither too live nor too dead. Okay. It has a certain life, and it's something that if you need a lot of air, you can get a lot of air in here. But if you need to close it down a little bit, you can do that. We've got a lot of the baffles and rugs, and you can dampen the sound a little bit, but the one thing that a lot of people don't take into account during recording is that the room is another instrument. It is part of the entire sound of a drum kit, of a whole band, of a string orchestra. The room makes all the difference, because if you get a room that sounds a little funky and a little weird and builds up weird frequencies, it's going to make your job as the engineer a lot harder. Yeah. One of the things that I've loved about working in all of our rooms is I don't have to work harder than I need to. Yeah. Because the rooms just sound good.
And which kind of recordings normally happen in this studio these days?
Well, it's nice that we're one of the few studios that's not typecast into a certain genre. So on any given day, we could be doing a string orchestra in here, a rock band in Studio 2, a little jazz trio in Studio 3, and a hip-hop artist in Studio 5, or some shuffle there. So when we've done, over the past couple of years, we've done some Justin Timberlake stuff in here, the Foo Fighters album, some string dates. So it's nice, like in this room in particular, we'll do anything. Yeah. And it's because we'll close down the room, we'll do some drum kits, some drums here and there, we'll do a string orchestra, we'll do some vocals. It's nice that we're not locked into one genre, and we can do anything.
Yeah. And there are some spaces to separate the musicians from the big room?
Well, this room doesn't really have much of that over there. We can actually head over there. That is a little bit of isolation, but it's not like true isolation. Yeah. It's not. You're not going to be able to lock away a drum kit. You're going to get some. So if you have a vocalist in here and a drum kit out here, you're going to hear a little bit of the drums bleeding through the wall, but you're not going to hear a lot of the vocals bleeding into the drums. Mm. So, you know, it's more of an old school style of recording where everybody plays at once and they're all playing the same song, so you don't really need to worry about bleed so long as you're controlling it.
Yeah. And would you say you prefer like doing recording the old school way, like having a band or an orchestra just play live, not track by track?
Oh yes, oh yes. The one thing I was trying to tell people about that is, like, music is a conversation, like between the musicians and the players. So you have a 5-piece rock band, and if you track it individually, that's 5 monologues. And if you track it together, it's a 5-person conversation. Because I don't want to listen to 5 people trying to talk over each other. I'd rather listen to 5 people talking with each other. So if they play it all together, the bass player is going to play, maybe just a little bit forward because the drummer is pushing ahead, or maybe the guitar player is pushing ahead, or where if they all play together, it's a little too, or play separately, it's a little too sterile. It doesn't jive.
And would you say everybody in the studio recognizes when there's something like this magic take or this special take when everybody's playing live and you just feel, okay, now it's right?
Yeah, and it actually makes that faster. If you get some top-notch studio musicians, yeah, they'll be able to do it track by track, like individually, and make it sound really, really tight, really clean, and like they were playing together. But if you have them play it together, you're going to get there a little bit faster, and it's just going to be, it's going to have more of a personality to it than we did this to the click. Yeah. It's going to have more character than strictness.
And when it comes to personality and character, do you prefer recording at least with analog parts of the recording chain, or is it just digital is way easier?
Me personally, I like using the tape or Pro Tools as a tape machine. Okay. That's just capture. I'll go back and I'll do editing and I'll do a little correcting here and there later, but I think of it as a tape machine. It makes it easier because you're paying attention to what you're hearing. That should be job number one. Is these are purely analog. Yeah. If you don't like what you're hearing, then no plug-in. I mean, maybe a plug-in will help you, but that's not going to be the best place to start. You can just try with maybe a different snare drum, maybe a different mic, maybe you need to EQ a little bit, maybe you need to compress it a little differently. There's so many different places to start than just trying to fiddle with it.
Would you say all the digital possibilities have destroyed recording or music to a certain amount?
I wouldn't say that. I don't think they've destroyed recording or changed it. Well, they've changed it, and I wouldn't say it's for the worse. It's a change. It's neither better nor worse. It's just different. It has made a lot more options of playing with tonalities and just sonic characteristics. But it's just different.
Yeah. But there are some guys that are like editing longer than the recordings last, so they just say, okay, just do 1 or 2 takes and then
stitch it together.
You can fix it.
For my mind, it's so much more effective just to, hey, play it again. Yeah. I would rather spend an extra hour here than 5 extra hours locked away in my room than, plus I'm hanging out with musicians more. You can get a better performance. It's hard to make a better performance. Yeah. It's easier to get a better performance.
Yeah. And for how long normally you work together with one band or one project?
It really depends. Sometimes it's just a day. Sometimes it's a few hours. I like the projects that are at least a couple of weeks long, where you get to know them. And you're all locked in the same room together for 12 hours a day. Yeah. but you still manage to develop a rapport, and you can joke a little bit, you can push a little bit, and you can, you know, help guide a performance.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's better to learn more about them, to know what they want, and what makes them happy.
Oh yes, oh yes. And it's hard to do that within a couple of hours.
Yeah.
You really need at least a week.
Okay. I hope most bands get that much time these
Me
days.
too. You know, we're a studio. We're available for here, and we're available for hire. And I like projects. We like people coming in. We like to get to know more musicians. We like people making music.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Cool. Let's head on to the control room.
Yeah. So how long in advance do I have to contact you when I want to record here?
Generally, when you have dates pinned, or when you know that you have dates coming up, then I would recommend letting me know as soon as possible. Sometimes we're booking day of, sometimes we're completely booked 2 months out.
Okay.
It really depends. So if you know you want to come in, let me know the dates, and we'll pin them down for you.
Yeah.
So in here.
You're really using this desk?
Oh yes.
Recording?
Oh yes. We have in here. It's a wonderful 80-channel Neve 8078. It's a double wide, so it's actually 2 consoles slapped together. And I love this desk. The rumor behind it is it was commissioned to mix Thriller. I keep getting differing reports from which Michael Jackson album it was, but I know it was commissioned to mix a Michael Jackson album. It was up at Record One. It's now called Record One, but at the time it was Ocean Way, North Hollywood, where they assembled it and then mixed that album. And then up there, when Alan Sides took over this building and renamed it Ocean Way, he pulled out the Harrison console that was in here and put this console in here. And it was around 85 or 86, because this room can justify this much real estate on the desk.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. So this console has been here for 30 years, 30 plus years, and it still is in great shape. Our chief engineer, Lawrence, is entirely overworked, and he's a miracle worker. He's kept this thing just singing.
Yeah, and would you say it's just the sound, but also the way you work with a desk like this that gives something special to the recordings? Yeah,
yeah. So we've got of all the desks that we've got here, the youngest one is from I think '92. It's an SSL in Studio 5.
Yeah.
And each one of them has a slightly different sonic characteristic, but they're tools. And one of the things, that's another reason we're so versatile as a studio is, okay, I need a project, I need this console. Okay, I have this project, I need that console. Oh, I have this project. Well, that room's open, so that console will work. I would prefer that one, but that one's just as good. So I mean, the desks themselves are just another tool. And if you want a little bit of a brighter sheen, maybe you'll go do mix it in Studio 5. Or maybe if you want that Neve thickness, you'll track it in Studio 2 or track it in here. And you just get the thing about it. And the thing that I always love about analog gear is it's as close as it's going to be from one to the next. It's never going to be identical. It's going to be really close, but you're going to have that little inconsistency that makes that. It's kind of like a musician. It's that little inconsistency that makes it feel good.
Yeah. When you're listening to newer recordings from other studios, is there sometimes something lacking when they doing it just too fast or too digital or too edited?
It's the life. If you can always tell when something's just been too edited. It's just, it feels clinical. It doesn't feel like one of the recordings that people always keep coming back to is like the old Zeppelin recordings, or you know, the recordings done in the 70s and 80s when they were doing a little bit of tape editing, but it wasn't everything lined up perfectly. I mean, granted, they would probably spend a month just to get drums on one track and make sure it was played right. But even then, there's going to be that little push and pull here and there. So I would rather have a really, really tight band with a little inconsistency than something that's done in one take and just tightened up and edited, and because it always feels like Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just cut together.
Yeah, I guess that's also what makes live performances so special.
Exactly.
It's not just push play, but it's
the inconsistency.
Yeah.
It's the, man, they're doing this song really fast. Man, they're really feeling it.
Yeah.
Or they've pulled this one really so down, and you can tell he's singing his heart out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And since when are you working here at EastWest?
I've been here for 7 years now, and I love it. It's different every day, and I thrive on chaos. It's what makes me go.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say let's see some of the other studios.
Yeah. Let's poke over to Studio 2. So each studio has its own dedicated lounge, and it's a nice place for people to step out of the room for a minute, have lunch, take a nap, maybe watch the game, enjoy a minute or two out of the room to collect their head, or on some sessions to put the entourage or put the label suits so that they're not interfering. But it's nice to have a place to go to get out of the way and clear your head for a minute.
Yeah.
Also great for napping.
Yeah.
So take a look in here real quick. Hi, Yoshi. We can't linger in here too long because they're getting ready for a session. But this is Studio 3. This is probably our most infamous room. It's where the Beach Boys did Pet Sounds, Mamas and Papas, Monday, and California Dreamin', Scott McKenzie, San Francisco, Blondie, Heart of Glass, Dolly Parton, 9 to 5. There's, once again, 50 years of history in this room, and a lot of it that I can't remember. There's a lot up on our website, and more than I can keep in my brain at any given time. But the console that we have in the room there is a Trident A-Range, and it's a wonderful console. It's, I adore it.
Yeah. And how many people are working here, like sound engineers and technicians and stuff like that?
We'll move over to Studio 2 next and get away from the tuning piano. There's about 15 people on staff here as runners or engineers. So here we have Studio 2. This is a Neve 8028, and it's been here just as long as the console in Studio 1 has, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
This particular console has a certain magic to it. It's the sister console to the one that Dave Grohl has at from Sound City.
Yeah.
And it's one of the old RCA broadcast desks. It's just, it has a thing to it.
Yeah. Yeah. There are just some things with old analog gear you cannot.
Yeah.
Like copy or digitalize.
Yeah. You can't copy it. You can't replace it. You can't even synthesize it. It's just. It's something.
Yeah, and I would say it's not always only the sound, but also how the engineer or the musician connects with it and feels when he's playing and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Or that immediate response. Yeah. We can head into the live room there and talk about this room.
Yeah.
I love this room. So this is Studio 2. This is our medium room. And it's infamous because this is where a lot of the TV themes from the 60s and 70s were done, like I Dream of Jeannie, The Partridge Family, Batman, Bonanza, a lot of that list. Then in the 70s and 80s, it became much more, excuse me, of a rock and roll room because people found that they really liked the way drums sound in here. Really liked the way. Part of AC/DC's Back in Black was done in here. The Chili Peppers did every album but 2 of them in here. Tom Petty, Wildflowers and Last DJ, System of a Down, Toxicity, Muse, Second Law and Absolution. Once again, a lot of history.
Yeah. That's so much classics you're mentioning.
Yeah, yeah. Bonnie Raitt did a lot of Nick of Time in here. There was one more that I had, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You.
Yeah. So
there's a good amount of things to draw upon. And that's also why the parent company of the studio, the Sound Libraries, that's why when Doug bought this building, it's because he wanted to do libraries in these rooms. And so they did the Hollywood Drummer in here, and they did the Hollywood Strings and Brass in Studio 1, because those rooms are what people are actually really used to hearing. Over these years of all these classic recordings, there's kind of that magic sound that, that feels comfortable, that feels familiar, that feels right. So it's nice for them to do the samples in here, and then the best part of it is it saved the building, and we can still have it today. So we still record projects for like the next generation's classics.
Yeah, that's true. And that would really be sad if studios like this would just shut down. And
it's a trend that's been happening, particularly like in New York and London, but it's because the real estate is the state of the music industry doesn't make as much money as you can with the real estate. Yeah. So you sell the building for millions of dollars that you would never see making records.
Yeah, you just need enthusiasts here.
Exactly.
To keep something like this alive.
And as long as I have fighting breath in my body, this will be a studio, and everything about it it is a bastion of basically of American cultural history, of all the music that was recorded in this wall. It is a living museum, basically.
And would you say Hollywood is the perfect place for a studio like this?
I would say so. A lot of what people forget when they want to do a destination studio like in the Bahamas or maybe some remote place where people can get away. The hard part about that is, I need a Wurlitzer. I can get you a Wurlitzer in a week. No, the inspiration's passed. And the thing about Hollywood, as the downside of there being so many people here, the benefit is you can get anything you need probably within a couple of hours. I need a Hofner bass in 20 minutes. I got a guy.
Yeah.
Here you go. That's why the studio community in LA is the way it is.
Yeah. And do you have like I guess you have lots of microphones and stuff like that here. Do you also have like amps and
we don't have a lot of backline here. Actually, we don't really keep any backline here. That's a lot of the studios in LA don't do backline because the real estate is at a premium. We don't have place to store a lot of things. Yeah. So that's why there's a lot of rental companies we have a good reputation with, a good rapport with. If we don't have a microphone or a piece of gear that somebody needs, we can call and we can get it shortly. You need a drum kit? Okay, okay, he's on a gig. Okay, he'll have a drum kit here, he'll have a drum kit here in an hour. So it's just kind of, that's the way it in my mind needs to work. It's like, because you can't afford to have, I couldn't afford to have every microphone and every piece of gear and multiples of it because they need it on that project. Oh, and they need it on that project, and they need it on that project. I need to have a lot of guys that can call and say, hey, I need a good drum kit. Hey, I need a stereo tube tech compressor.
And when it comes to microphones, do you have some favorites, or would you say it depends on the project and the room? And
it depends upon the project and the room, and the microphone choice. That we say there are as many different ways to mic a drum kit as there are engineers, and even the same engineer will mic a drum kit differently project to project. So it's all about, basically, we're customer service. It's all about what the client wants. If they want some really arena rock drum kit, okay, we'll choose mics based upon that. Or if they want something that sounds like an old Wrecking Crew recording, we'll choose mics based on that. It's the microphones and the equipment. They're all tools to help the production, to help the music, and realize the musicians and the artists' ultimate goal. And the engineer's job, which from my perspective is to facilitate and not get in the way. Yeah. You got to help it along, but you can't force something.
Do you have some like tips or tricks how to get along with musicians, or how to get in the same kind of mood to support each other and push each other? Are there tricks, or is it just sometimes there's directly a connection and sometimes
there's directly that's actually a really difficult question. Sometimes it's easy and you have an instant rapport, and you can joke and you can kind of get them into the mood of the song. Sometimes the mood of the song is really intense. Working with singers, I have a tendency to be very exacting, as I know it's all about getting in the right place mentally to sing with the right emotion to give me that feel. If it's a long love song, they've got to be happy. They've got to be a little smitten. If it's a depressing song about pain and loss or something like that, we got to get you in that headspace. It's got to be right there. It's got to be fresh, so that you can sing to me with that emotion. So it's really just a matter of matching the mood of the song and getting it, drawing a performance and making sure that it is exactly what they mean. Yeah. It's not just the words and a melody. It's everything that's behind the words and the melody helps that emotion.
Yeah. And I'm sure you have worked with many great musicians and bands, but would you say there's some specific band or musician you would love to work with that you haven't?
That I haven't? Basically, if they're down to have fun with the process, I'm down to join them. Okay. I love doing this. I couldn't do anything else. This is just too much fun. Yeah.
And is there a specific album you would like to recommend that was recorded here during your time?
Oh, during my time? Oh, man.
What would you say? Oh, that was so much fun, and the result is just perfect.
I had a lot of fun working on the Michael Buble album, To Be Loved. Yeah. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, but it was so much fun. Yeah.
Can you listen to your recordings like unbiased? Like just listen to them as they would be just any records, or is it just like, oh, I know the microphone dropped?
That's hard, because I listen back to it and I think, oh, God, that was fun. For me, there's that connection to it, and I just think about, oh man, this is a great album. This is a lot of fun, and it triggers a memory, and that's, I think, what a lot of us do with music anyway. Is maybe it wasn't necessarily working on the album, but this is the song that was playing when I graduated high school. This is my class song, or this was the song that I associate with when I just got my driver's license. I was driving down the road. Mm-hmm. This was on, and it's those memory triggers that, and all the albums that I've worked on, they trigger those memories for me. Like, oh, it was a story. We were doing that. Man, we should not have been that drunk. Yeah. Or just little things like that. It's like, that was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah. And do you have sometimes the feeling like, I know many musicians, when they listen to their album from like 5 years ago, they are thinking, oh, we could have done it so much better when we had known that or used that.
Yeah.
Do you have some?
Or maybe if we'd worked with this guy back then,
Yeah.
or maybe this would have been a better project with this person. That's just living.
Yeah.
I mean, music does imitate life. So I mean, you can't live in regret. You just, okay, this is what it is, and was our best effort at the time. Let's do the next one better. Let's do the next one better.
Yeah.
And you can't really keep looking back and think, oh man, I wish I could have, because that'll just chew you up.
Yeah.
And you can think about it as like, oh, this is what we learned from that. This is what we'll do better now. Because it's a moment in time. Like, and that's the thing about an album is it's here right now, and it's kind of it's a snapshot. It's a sonic capture of this moment, this feeling, this thing, and it'll remind you. It'll remind you of a lot of what happened, what you were feeling, what you were thinking, what you were doing, and then you just got to learn from it.
Yeah. Are there sometimes similar feelings when you're into a recording that you have to say, okay, this is just everything we can do now? We just have to stop because we can go on and on and on, but it wouldn't help anything.
Yeah, and that's a hard lesson to learn. A lot of it is at the end of a 12-hour day. It's like, well, just one more take, just one more take. It's like we're not going to be able to use it because you're all just tired. Your vocals are tired. Nobody's thinking straight. The form's kind of falling apart. But at the same time, there's sometimes that tiredness leads to a little bit of a sloppy magic.
Yeah.
Like it just something just worked, and there was that energy. But it's really hard to say because I've hit that point of diminishing returns frequently. Like maybe I'm working on a mix and just like I just need to go home.
Yeah.
My ears are tired, my brain's tired. I just need to sleep and come back. Oh, that's better. And it's just that the obvious answer is escaping you because you're too tired.
Yeah. And is there a special, like, task for the balcony?
Not really. I see a lot of people use it as storage. I've seen people put a drum kit up there.
Okay.
It's the one thing about this room. This is the only room we have that has true isolation in here. So it's got a vocal booth here, and then the larger booth there. So, and that's another reason we see a lot of rock bands in here, so we can keep the guitar cab away from maybe the vocalist.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on over to Studio 5. So everything out here was overhauled about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When Doug Rogers from EastWest bought the studio and saved it from being demolished, basically. The building was in sad shape. It needed a new roof, the power needed to be upgraded.
Yeah.
And everything in here was just kind of dilapidated and a little broken. So what he did is he brought in Philippe Stark to help with the redesign and gutted the entire building except the studios. So the studios he left exactly as they were because you can't really improve upon it. You could only destroy history.
Yeah, that's true.
And people come here because of the history. Well, one of the reasons people come here is because of the history. So they gutted everything, went straight up to the old ceiling, and left the building and just kind of redecorated the building around it to keep the studios intact, but give it a little bit more of a modern touch, and it helps make it feel like a hotel, basically, because we are really just a hotel with technology. Morning, Lawrence.
Are you doing sometimes recordings somewhere here or something just to get this special sound or vibe? Or
sometimes it's hard to control since the phone will ring or you hear the traffic noise, but sometimes. I've had somebody do a vocal take out on the street.
Yeah.
at 2 in the morning.
Just because you wanted some...
Want a little bit of street noise, yeah. Just the sound of a car going by. It's whatever you need to do to get the job done, basically.
Yeah.
And we have a wonderful kitchen in here. Or each studio has its own dedicated fridge. Yeah. For people, we want people to come in and be comfortable for a while. So, they can cook here. They can keep their leftovers. They just have whatever they need, so that they don't have to worry and think about anything other than the music.
Yeah. But it really looks and feels like comfortable and relaxed. So I'm sure you can have fun times here.
Oh yes, oh yes. There have been a lot of fun times had here.
Yeah.
Cool, and then we'll head down the hall to Studio 5. So this is Studio 5. This is our most modern room. We reopened this room in April of 2014 to be our mix suite.
Yeah.
And it also has brought in a lot more of the pop and hip hop clients, because it's got a large SSL and then a vocal booth. So you can do a lot of overdubs in here, like guitar overdub, vocal overdub, maybe a keyboard. But this room, it's a wonderful sounding room. It was built to be the mix room, so it sounds the same pretty much all the way across the room. Yeah. You're not going to hear pockets of okay, there's a low end, it builds up here. Yeah. This room is just solid.
Yeah. So I guess there aren't that much like equipment changes here, just like different monitor.
Yeah, monitors. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like that's the only thing that really changes from session to session. So we have a lot of toys in the rack. Yeah. And everything that we have here was, when we spec'd it out, was to, okay, you have a really just straight ahead rock mix. This. Okay, we've got pretty much everything you need to get started. Anything else that you would require would be a specialty piece that we can get from one of the rental houses. Yeah. But you're going to have about 90% of what you need.
And I guess the musicians or engineers that are deciding for this studio, they know what's in here and what it sounds like, and they are exactly looking for that sound. And
yeah, and some of it is that they don't know what this piece of gear sounds like. Oh, let's try it. Let's see what it does. Yeah. It doesn't work for that, but it'll work on that. And so do that, and okay, that's good. It's just, it's all about playing with toys. Yeah. Once again, if you're not having fun, you're kind of doing it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, but the whole place really looks awesome.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Are there any plans for like the near future to have changes? But because I guess there's not much space to do another studio or something like that.
No, I don't think we have any plans for changing anything in the near future, other than just keep it rocking and rolling and keeping it booked and busy. Because if it's not broken, we don't need to fix it. And I don't know. I see a lot of trends coming back where people are coming back to studios instead of doing it all in their bedroom. They're coming here to do some drums, because why can't I get this recording I'm doing in my bedroom to sound like that? Yeah. Well, the room is a big part of it. Go to the room, and now you have a much closer sound to what you're looking for and what you're wanting than what you were stuck with. So.
Yeah. And when it comes to your libraries, sound libraries, is there anything you planned that might be out in the next?
I'm honestly not sure.
Okay.
There are a few, I know there are a few things in the work. I don't know what's been officially released or made public yet. I mostly work for the studio side, and I dabble a little bit into the libraries. But I know they're working on something. I just don't know exactly what it is at the moment.
Yeah. Do you have some favorite library from EastWest that you love to work with?
The string samples, the piano samples, and the drum samples are my favorite. They're my go-to. The Fab 4 is a really good one too. It does sound exactly like that little bit from the album.
Yeah.
But for me, they're exceptionally quality tools for whatever job I'm looking for. They just, if I need to have a good string sound, there it is. It's just there, and the only way I'm going to make that better is by getting a string section in Studio One and having him play that part.
Yeah, and I guess that's not possible for
and
every
for
project.
exactly, it's not. Some budgets are a lot tighter, so it's. I mean, they were never really designed to replace live musicians, just to help augment. Because if you only have the budget for like a 20-piece orchestra, they'll help you sound like you had the budget for a 50-piece.
Yeah.
So thicken it up, give it a little more life, but you still have based around that core of these live musicians.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, this is fun, and I just hope people keep playing.
Yeah, but it looks like fun, so I hope you will have fun for several more years here.
Me too.
Yeah. But I'm very sure that should not be a very hard part.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I'll keep having fun. If it stops being fun, I'll find something else.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much
Yeah, thank you.
this tour.
Oh,
to
it's
EastWest
absolutely my
Studios.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed. See you soon. Bye.